Alcohol is obviously still a huge issue, but over time we noticed that drugs were becoming a bigger and bigger factor, perhaps not surprisingly, when you can actually get them more cheaply and easily than a pint of beer. This led us to our next workshop, The Grass Isn't Always Green, on drug awareness. This is probably the most involved that students ever get on any workshop that we've produced, especially because we talk about all types of drugs, legal, illegal, prescription, and what is deemed as socially acceptable. To be honest, we always seem to learn something new from the students on this issue, especially the new street names for drugs that are more commonly used. I can't talk enough about what a massive impact it is to bring in a guest speaker, for them to tell their story and explain the pitfalls, what really happens, what is the realistic outcomes of drug taking. And well, instead of me carrying on about it, I'd now like to show you a piece of footage so you can see for yourselves what a great impact it has with the young people.
What advice would you give to someone who was thinking about doing drugs or thinking about, getting involved in that kind of scene?
I'd try and get them to listen to one of those talks, because if they heard that, then they'd definitely think twice about doing it.
I don't think it's so much that you could improve it. I think it's just obviously the more questioning, the more people are aware. I mean, I found it absolutely, I don't mean mind-blowing in which how to put it, but no, I thought it was just spot on, actually. It was just what they need to know, and coming from someone who has been there and done that, she was just, I don't think you could do that unless you had.
I was born into a really kind of loving family. My dad was a police officer, my mum stayed at home, and I had a baby brother who I loved dearly, and it was like something inside of me kind of died, and I became a very unhappy child. And and not long afterwards, at the age of about 11, I found drugs for the first time, and I loved them. I loved the way they made me feel, or not feel, should I say. I didn't have to feel anything, I didn't have to think about anything. Do you know what bipolar is? Yeah? Okay, so I've got bipolar, and it kicked in when I was 15. I'm pretty sure that came about because of the trauma I went through in my childhood, and because of my drug use. It kind of, I was predisposed to it, and it just kind of triggered it all. So I got depressed, and I was put on medication for the first time. As I got older, I went to college where I found harder drugs. I found ecstasy, speed, cocaine, acid, and all kind of party drugs. And I loved it, and I just wanted more and more and more. I just wanted to stop feeling everything that I was feeling, so I've become a very kind of angry, aggressive child, teenager. I started to deal, and that scenario, it takes me back, because I would sell drugs to my friends. Apparently I was their friend, I was selling them drugs, but in the eyes of the law, I was dealing. And then I got into shoplifting, and my behaviour started to escalate, I guess. Somehow I got myself into a situation where I was friends with someone who was using heroin and crack, and I ended up picking up both drugs, but for me heroin was my drug of choice. Up until that point, I still had morals, I still had standards, I still had a belief system, inside. I knew the difference between right and wrong. I knew what I was doing. And heroin just robbed me of that.
I think Becky's talk was good, and it really kind of made me more aware, because usually I was just like, oh, drugs are just getting high and just having fun, nothing can really happen. But then obviously hearing Becky's story, I think much differently now, and I really appreciate her sharing it.
I think it was Becky telling us, I think, first-hand her experiences, because I don't think we've had that before. Like, someone hasn't come in and told us about the stuff that's happened to them.
I enjoyed the workshop, and I think the best bit was Becky's story, because you really get a sense of what happened, and it's better than watching a video.
I thought the role playing was really useful because you got to find out, say, if you were holding drugs, you still get the blame for it.
I found Becky's talk really interesting because I didn't realise the effects of what drugs can do.
I think Becky's talk was most important because you find out where you can go with drugs and what will happen to you.
I thought Becky's talk was the most inspirational because there is always places where you can go to get over drugs and stuff.
I think Becky's talk.
I quite liked that Becky told us that story because when you hear about weed and stuff, you take it a bit more lightly because you don't really hear the effects about it.
I agree with everybody else actually. I thought the whole thing was great, but Becky's talk really brought it home to me and showed you that you can recover from an experience like this. And you described all the terrible places it can take you to.
It was really touching, and how she could act like that, and what she did to herself. It was very hard hitting on me, and it relates a lot to family. And I think I'm not going to do drugs again, drugs ever.
Amazing in terms of what came from it. I mean, I just wanted to cry. I wanted to cry. I thought she was absolutely amazing to start with the abuse in the first place. How brave was that? And I think I can't think of a better way of making children or the young people understand what it does to you. I mean, she's absolutely shocking what she's been through, but so brave to tell us all. And I mean, the children, as you could see, were just
really engaged.
Really engaged.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't, and actually, again, quite brave as a young man who was asking the questions, because it was obviously, you could see it playing on his mind.